The spark. The crystalline spires of Nova Station pierced the starlit void like frozen lightning, their surfaces reflecting the light of 3 nearby suns. Inside the station's grand chamber, the air crackled with tension as Ambassador Sarah Martinez stood before the Arcturian High Council, her dark eyes steady despite the growing hostility around her. "The terms Earth proposes are fair," she stated, her voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber. "Equal trade rights, shared technological development, and mutual defense agreements." The 7 Arcturian counselors, their iridescent scales shifting colors with their agitation, exchanged glances that Martinez had learned to read all too well over her years of diplomatic service. High Counselor Vexthor, his crown of sensory tendrils writhing like angry serpents, leaned forward on his crystalline throne. "Fair." He practically spat the word. "Your species has barely mastered interstellar travel. The Arcturian Empire has ruled these sectors for 10,000 cycles. We do not negotiate as equals with primitives." Martinez allowed herself a small smile, one that didn't reach her eyes. "With respect, High Counselor, perhaps you might reconsider your definition of primitive." She tapped her wrist console, projecting a hologram of recent technological advances Earth had chosen to share: clean energy systems, medical breakthroughs, innovations in quantum computing. "Parlor tricks," Vexthor dismissed with a wave of his scaled hand. "Your species is young, aggressive, and dangerously unpredictable. The Council has reached its decision. Earth will submit to Arcturian protection and guidance, or it will face the consequences." In her earpiece, Martinez heard the soft ping that indicated an encrypted message from Earth Command. She maintained her diplomatic composure as she read the scrolling text in her augmented reality display. "Dark Horizon Protocol activated. With the Durov IMMEDAATLI." "High Counselor," Martinez began, her tone shifting subtly, "I'm authorized to inform you that Earth respectfully declines your offer of protection." She emphasized the last word with just enough irony to make several counselors bristle. Vexthor rose from his throne, his massive frame towering over the human diplomat. "You mistake this for a negotiation, Ambassador. It is not. The Arcturian Empire does not tolerate potential threats, no matter how small." Martinez's smile widened slightly. "Interesting choice of words, High Counselor. Potential threats. You see, humanity has learned much from studying galactic history, about empires that grew too confident, too comfortable in their perceived superiority, about the mistakes they made." The chamber's temperature dropped several degrees as environmental systems responded to the Arcturians' collective anger. Vexthor's scales had shifted to a deep crimson, a warning sign Martinez chose to ignore. "You dare threaten the Empire?" Vexthor's voice boomed through the chamber. "Not at all," Martinez replied calmly. "I'm simply pointing out that humanity has spent its entire history preparing for moments exactly like this one. We've imagined every scenario, planned for every contingency. It's something of a species trait. We tend to assume everything that can go wrong will go wrong." The High Counselor's hand moved to the ceremonial weapon at his belt, a gesture that did not go unnoticed by Martinez or the hidden sensors monitoring the chamber. "Your insolence ends now, Ambassador. The Council sentences you to death for threatening the peace of the Empire. Let this serve as a message to Earth about the price of defiance." Martinez's final words were transmitted across every communication channel in the station. "You know what humanity's greatest strength is, High Counselor. We never show all our cards at once." The weapon's discharge lit up the chamber with blinding energy. Martinez's body crumpled to the floor, her diplomatic credentials scattering around her like fallen leaves. In the silence that followed, a small device in her pocket activated, sending a simple quantum-encrypted message to Earth Command. "Dark Horizon INNITI. TED. Package DLIVR'd." High Counselor Vexthor stood over the fallen ambassador, satisfaction evident in his posture. "Let the humans send their protests. Let them rage and threaten. The Empire has dealt with countless species like them before. In the darkness of space surrounding Nova Station, invisible to even the Empire's most advanced sensors, quantum entanglement receivers picked up Martinez's final transmission. Throughout the sector, hidden human assets began to move. The Arcturian Empire had just made the oldest mistake in the book. They had assumed that what they could see was all there was to see. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. Silent Thunder. Fleet Admiral Chen Wei stood in Earth's Strategic Command Center, watching the quantum display that showed the aftermath of Ambassador Martinez's execution. The room was eerily quiet, filled with the soft hum of advanced computing systems and the controlled breathing of Earth's highest-ranking military officials. Sarah knew exactly what she was doing. Chen said softly, his weathered features illuminated by the holographic displays. The question is, did our guests take the bait? Colonel Maya Santos, head of quantum intelligence, stepped forward. Confirmed, Admiral. The nanite package Martinez carried was successfully dispersed throughout Nova Station's environmental systems during her final moments. She hesitated for a beat. The Arcturians don't realize it yet, but they just invited our eyes and ears into their most secure facility. The massive display shifted, showing streams of data flowing in from the microscopic quantum-enabled observers, now spreading through Nova Station's infrastructure. The Arcturians' most closely guarded secrets were being laid bare, transmitted back to Earth through channels that defied conventional physics. Begin Phase 2, Chen ordered, his voice carrying the weight of years of preparation. Operation Silent Thunder is now active. Throughout the Sol system, hidden installations began to power up. Facilities that had been disguised as research stations, mining operations, and civilian outposts revealed their true nature. Humanity had been preparing for this possibility since before they'd made first contact with alien life. In high orbit around Jupiter, what appeared to be a routine gas mining operation suddenly transformed. Massive structures emerged from the gas giant's turbulent atmosphere, revealing shipyards that had been hidden in plain sight for decades. Ships unlike anything the galaxy had seen before took form, their quantum crystalline hulls absorbing light rather than reflecting it. Status report on the Ghost Fleet, Chen commanded. All vessels reporting ready. Admiral, reported Captain James Wu from his station. The 2ED drives are spooled up and waiting. Strike teams are in position throughout Arcturian space, thanks to the quantum tunneling networks we've been secretly establishing for the past 5 years. Chen nodded, his expression grim. And our special projects. Dr. Elena Volkov, Chief of Advanced Weapons Research, stepped into view. Her usual lab coat was replaced by a formal military uniform. Project Mirror is fully operational, sir. The quantum reflection arrays are aligned and ready. The Arcturians are about to learn that their own technology can be redirected. On the main display, Nova Station continued its serene orbit, its defenders completely unaware of what was about to happen. High Counselor Vexthor was addressing his military commanders, his scaled form magnified by the station's projection systems. Let the humans come, his voice boomed through the intercepted communications. Let them throw their primitive ships against our defenses. The Empire will teach them the price of defiance. Chen allowed himself a small smile. Primitive, indeed. Colonel Santos, if you would. Maya's fingers danced across her console. Throughout Nova Station, lights began to flicker. Environmental systems stuttered, and in every computer system, a message appeared, written in perfect Arcturian script. You took one of ours. We didn't come to fight. We came to teach you about consequences. The station's supposedly impenetrable quantum shields suddenly wavered, their energy patterns disrupted by frequencies that shouldn't have existed. In the confusion, no one noticed the small distortions in space-time that indicated the arrival of Earth's advanced teams. All units, Chen's voice was calm as he gave the order that would change the galaxy forever. Execute Silent Thunder. Show them what humanity has been hiding all these years. The response came instantly, coordinated with a precision that would have seemed impossible to outside observers. Throughout Arcturian space, quantum tunnels opened in impossible places. Earth's ghost fleet emerged from hiding, their ships appearing simultaneously at dozens of critical military installations. But it wasn't just military might that humanity unleashed. As Arcturian defense systems scrambled to respond, they found their own weapons turning against them. Their shield frequencies reversed, their communication networks compromised. The quantum manites that Martinez had sacrificed herself to deliver had done their work well, giving Earth complete control over the station's infrastructure. In the grand chamber where Martinez had fallen, High Counselor Vexthor watched in horror as his empire's most sophisticated defense systems shut down one by one. The chamber's holographic displays showed similar scenes playing out across Arcturian space. Strategic facilities falling silent, military installations going dark, all without a single shot being fired. "Impossible," he whispered, his scales now pale with fear. How could they have prepared all this? As if in answer, every display in the station changed to show Admiral Chen's face. "High Counselor," he said, his voice carrying the same quiet confidence that Martinez had shown in her final moments. "Humanity has spent its entire history preparing for the worst. You just proved us right." The Ghost Fleet ships now surrounded Nova Station, their quantum crystalline hulls seeming to bend reality itself around them. They hadn't fired a single weapon, yet they had already won. "You have 1 hour to surrender," Chen continued. "After that, we start demonstrating what else we've been keeping in reserve. And trust me, High Counselor, you haven't even begun to see what humanity is capable of when pushed." In the silence that followed, Dr. Volkov turned to Admiral Chen. "Sir, should we tell them about the quantum entanglement mines we've secretly placed throughout their territory? Or perhaps about the temporal phase shifters?" Chen shook his head, a grim smile playing at his lips. "No, Doctor. Let's give them time to appreciate just how badly they've miscalculated. After all, the best lessons are the ones you learn for yourself." The quantum dance. The Arcturian Empire's response came not with surrender, but with desperate fury. Massive battle fleets emerged from hyperspace around Nova Station, their weapons primed and shields at maximum power. High Counselor Vexthor, his scales now a deep purple of rage and determination, stood on his command deck. "You think you can threaten the Empire with your parlor tricks?" He broadcast on all frequencies. "Let's see how your hidden fleet handles real military power." In Earth's strategic command, Admiral Chen watched the Arcturian forces gather with an expression that might have been mistaken for pity. "They still don't understand, do they?" he mused, turning to Dr. Volkov. "Elena, I believe it's time for Project Mobius." The scientist's eyes lit up. "Are you sure, sir? We haven't tested it in actual combat conditions. If there was ever a time to rewrite the rules of engagement, it's now," Chen replied. "Colonel Santos, is the quantum network still functioning throughout their fleet?" Maya checked her readings. The nanite network has successfully infiltrated 97% of their vessels. "We're seeing everything they see, controlling what they can control." "Perfect." Chen straightened his uniform. "All Ghost Fleet vessels, initiate Project Mobius. Let's show them why humanity stopped relying on conventional warfare centuries ago." What happened next defied the laws of physics as the Arcturians understood them. The Ghost Fleet's quantum crystalline hulls began to pulse with impossible energies. Space itself seemed to fold and ripple around them, as if reality was being gently rewritten. The first Arcturian ship to fire found its energy weapons passing through where human vessels appeared to be, only to emerge from quantum tunnels aimed back at their own fleet. Others discovered their targeting systems showing human ships in dozens of locations simultaneously, each reading as completely real, yet impossible to hit. "What is this trickery?" Vexthor demanded as his flagship's weapons proved useless against targets that seemed to exist in multiple states of reality at once. Captain Wu's voice came through the command channel, calm and professional. "Ghost Fleet implementing quantum probability manipulation. Admiral, the Arcturians are firing at where we might be, rather than where we are. or aren't. The distinction is becoming rather philosophical at this point. Indeed, the human ships seem to dance through combat space in ways that shouldn't have been possible, their movements guided by quantum calculations that treated probability itself as a navigational tool. Each vessel existed in multiple states simultaneously, making conventional targeting not just difficult, but mathematically impossible. Dr. Volkov monitored the data streams with intense satisfaction. Project Mobius is performing beyond expectations. Admiral, the quantum entanglement field is stable, and the probability matrices are holding. We're not just avoiding their attacks. We're redefining what an attack can be. Throughout the battle space, Arcturian ships found themselves entangled in what could only be described as a dance of quantum impossibilities. Their most powerful weapons dispersed harmlessly through probability fields, while precision strikes from Earth's fleet seemed to emerge from nowhere and everywhere at once. "Sir," Maya reported, her voice tight with controlled excitement. "The Nanite Network is reporting unusual activity in the Arcturian command and control systems. It seems our quantum manipulation is having some interesting side effects." On the main display, they watched as Arcturian ships began to experience reality differently. Time dilation effects caused weapon systems to fire minutes after their triggers were pulled. Shield harmonics fluctuated through quantum states that rendered them simultaneously active and inactive. "They're starting to understand," Chen observed, watching as confusion spread through the enemy fleet. "This isn't a battle they can win with bigger ships or stronger weapons. We're not fighting their forces, we're fighting their understanding of what's possible." In his command center, Vexthor was experiencing something he had never felt in his long military career: absolute uncertainty. His sensors showed human vessels that violated every known law of physics. His weapons struck targets that both existed and didn't exist. His mighty fleet, the pride of the Empire, was being systematically dismantled by an enemy that seemed to treat reality itself as a suggestion rather than a rule. "Status report," he demanded. His science officer's voice trembled. "High Counselor, they're not just using advanced technology. They're rewriting the underlying principles of space-time within the combat zone. Our weapons are useless because the very concepts they're based on are being locally redefined." Back in Strategic Command, Chen received a priority alert from the quantum network. "Sir," Maya reported, "we're detecting massive energy buildup in the Arcturian flagship. They appear to be preparing to detonate their main reactor." "A suicide attack?" Dr. Volkov asked, her fingers already dancing across her console to adjust the quantum fields. Chen shook his head. "No. Desperation. Colonel Santos, initiate Protocol Ouroboros." Throughout the Arcturian fleet, the Nanite Network activated its final protocols. Ships that had been struggling against quantum probability fields suddenly found their reactor cores engaged in carefully controlled quantum tunneling effects. Energy meant for destruction was redirected, transformed, and repurposed. The massive energy buildup in Vexthor's flagship didn't result in an explosion. Instead, every ship in his fleet suddenly found itself bound in a complex web of quantum entanglement, their very atoms linked in ways that made independent action impossible. "You fought well." Chen's voice reached every Arcturian commander simultaneously. But this battle was over before it began. "You see, humanity learned long ago that the best way to win a war is to change the rules by which it's fought. Your move, High Counselor." Breaking point. The collapse of the Arcturian Empire began not with a bang, but with a whisper. As news of the battle at Nova Station spread through quantum channels, the carefully maintained image of Imperial invincibility cracked, then shattered. The Nanite network that Ambassador Martinez had sacrificed herself to deliver had spread far beyond its initial deployment, carrying with it truths that the Empire had long suppressed. In the Strategic Command Center, Colonel Santos monitored the cascade of information flowing through the quantum network. "Sir, we're seeing unprecedented levels of internal communication throughout Arcturian space. The data we recovered from their secure archives is spreading faster than their sensors can contain it." Admiral Chen nodded, watching the holographic display as system after system lit up with activity. And the military response. That's the interesting part, Captain Wu reported. Nearly 40% of their fleet commanders are refusing to engage. Some are citing technical issues, others are openly questioning their orders. The quantum entanglement demonstration seems to have affected their confidence. Dr. Volkov approached with a new set of readings. It's more than that. Admiral, the nanite network is picking up fascinating changes in their quantum communication patterns. They're not just afraid of us. They're beginning to question everything they thought they knew about physics, about their place in the galaxy. On the main display, they watched as another Arcturian battle group surrendered, their ships powered down in a gesture of submission. The mighty empire that had dominated galactic politics for 10,000 cycles was experiencing something entirely new, doubt. In his command center on Nova Station, High Counselor Vex Thor faced a rebellion of a different kind. His own advisors, once sycophantic in their loyalty, now spoke with voices edged in fear and uncertainty. The humans didn't just defeat our fleet, his chief scientist argued, scales shifting between colors of anxiety and revelation. They demonstrated technological capabilities that should be impossible. Our entire understanding of quantum mechanics, of reality itself. Silence. Vex Thor roared, but his voice carried less authority than ever before. On his displays, reports continued to flood in. Colonial worlds were declaring independence. Trade alliances were being broken. And through it all, the humans maintained their position, their ghost fleet hovering in quantum superposition, a constant reminder of how thoroughly they had upended the galaxy's balance of power. Admiral, Maya's voice carried an unusual note of amusement. You might want to see this. We're picking up some interesting civilian transmissions from Arcturian worlds. The display shifted to show various news feeds and social media channels. Arcturian citizens were sharing videos of the battle, analyzing the quantum phenomena they had witnessed. But more than that, they were asking questions about their government, about the technologies that had been kept from them, about the true history of their empire. They're not just questioning their military superiority anymore, Dr. Volkov observed. They're questioning their entire social structure. The nanite network gave them access to their own classified history, and they're not liking what they're finding. Indeed, the data that Martinez's sacrifice had helped uncover painted a damning picture. Centuries of oppression, technological suppression, and carefully manufactured conflicts designed to keep the Empire's client species in line. All of it now laid bare, spreading through quantum channels faster than light itself. Sir, Captain Wu reported, we're receiving a transmission from the Arcturian Central Command. It's interesting. The message displayed on the main screen, showing not High Counselor Vex Thor, but a coalition of military commanders and civilian leaders. Their scales showed the muted colors of humility, a sight so rare it had almost passed into legend. To the representatives of Earth, their spokesperson began, "We request an immediate cessation of hostilities and the opening of genuine diplomatic channels. Recent events have made it clear that our understanding of both humanity and the universe itself requires significant revision." Chen allowed himself a small smile. And Vex Thor? Under arrest by his own guard, Maya confirmed. Apparently, attempting to start a second quantum battle was the last straw. His own people decided they'd rather not see what else humanity had been keeping in reserve. Throughout Arcturian space, change was spreading at quantum speed. Colonial worlds were establishing direct contact with Earth, bypassing imperial authority. Scientific institutions were requesting access to human research, offering their own knowledge in exchange. The rigid hierarchy that had defined the Empire for millennia was dissolving, replaced by something new and uncertain. Dr. Volkov. Chen turned to the scientist. What's the status of Project Oracle? Ready when you are, Admiral. Though I suspect deploying it now would be excessive. Chen nodded, looking at the display where former Imperial worlds were already beginning to reorganize themselves into something new. Hold it in reserve. Sometimes the best weapon is the one you never have to use. Though I admit, I'm curious to see how they'd react to temporal manipulation on a galactic scale. The room fell silent as the implications of that casual statement sank in. The Arcturians had surrendered not just to superior force, but to the realization that they had fundamentally misunderstood what humanity was capable of. They had seen only the surface of Earth's capabilities, and that glimpse alone had been enough to reshape their civilization. "Send word to Earth Command," Chen ordered. "The military phase of Operation Dark Horizon is complete. Begin diplomatic initiatives." He paused, looking at the quantum display where the Ghost Fleet still hung in probability clouds around Nova Station. "And someone get me Ambassador Martinez's next of kin. They should know that her sacrifice didn't just end a war, it transformed a civilization." New dawn. 6 months after the Battle of Nova Station, the crystalline chamber that had witnessed Ambassador Martinez's execution hosted a very different gathering. Representatives from across the galaxy sat in a new circular arrangement, the old imperial hierarchies replaced by something more egalitarian. The chamber's quantum crystal walls no longer simply reflected light. They now pulsed with data streams, a visible reminder of the new era of transparency. Admiral Chen stood at the center of the chamber, his dress uniform adorned with the newly created Galactic Cooperation Medal. Beside him stood Dr. Elena Volkov and Colonel Maya Santos, along with representatives from 24 formerly subjugated species. Most striking was the presence of several Arcturian delegates, their scales showing the pearlescent colors of change and renewal. "The Galactic Concordat," Chen began, his voice carrying to every corner of the chamber and beyond. "Through quantum channels to billions of beings across thousands of worlds, represents more than just a peace treaty. It marks humanity's formal introduction to the galactic community, not as conquerors, not as subjects, but as partners." The holographic displays showed the transformation that had swept through former imperial space. Quantum technology, no longer restricted by imperial decree, had revolutionized everything from communication to medicine. Former colony worlds flourished under self-governance, while Arcturian society underwent a renaissance of scientific and cultural exchange. "We could have simply replaced one empire with another," Chen continued. "We had the capability." He glanced at Dr. Volkov, who nodded slightly. "Project Oracle alone could have reshaped the timeline to our advantage. But humanity learned long ago that true power lies not in dominance, but in cooperation." The main display shifted to show the Ghost Fleet, now serving as a joint peacekeeping force. Human quantum technology had been shared with former imperial worlds, under careful protocols designed to prevent its misuse. The ships now carried mixed crews, their quantum crystalline hulls incorporating designs and innovations from multiple species. Ambassador Martinez, Chen's voice softened, understood this. Her sacrifice wasn't just about showing our strength. It was about creating an opportunity for change. The nanite network she delivered didn't just give us tactical advantage. It gave the people of the Empire access to their own truth. In the audience, Martinez's family sat in a place of honor. Her daughter, recently appointed as Earth's new ambassador to the Concordat, wore her mother's diplomatic insignia. The quantum data streams in the walls pulsed briefly with the colors of remembrance. Dr. Volkov stepped forward, her scientific whites now incorporating elements of various alien designs. "The quantum revolution we've initiated is just the beginning. Already, joint research teams are exploring concepts that push beyond what any single species thought possible. We're not just sharing technology, we're sharing dreams." Colonel Santos activated a new holographic display, showing the spread of the quantum network across the galaxy. What had begun as a tool of infiltration had evolved into the backbone of a new civilization. "The network now connects over 3,000 worlds," she reported. "Knowledge flows freely, monitored only for security concerns. The age of imperial secrets is over." A former Arcturian High Command officer, now serving as their representative to the Concordat, rose to speak. His scales shifted through colors of humility and hope. "We thought we understood power," he said, his translator carrying the nuances of his tonal language. "We built our empire on the assumption that strength came from control, from dominance. Humanity showed us a different way, not through conquest, but through revelation." The chamber's quantum crystals resonated with agreement, their frequencies aligning in harmony. The technology that had once served to overawe imperial subjects now facilitated genuine communication and understanding. But perhaps most importantly, Chen concluded, this concordat includes provisions that none of us thought possible 6 months ago. The quantum entanglement drives that power our ships have been adapted for peaceful exploration. The probability manipulation fields that won the Battle of Nova Station now help predict and prevent natural disasters. Even Project Oracle's temporal insights are being used to heal ecological damage from centuries of imperial exploitation. He turned to face the quantum feeds broadcasting across the galaxy. "This is humanity's true strength, not our ability to win wars, but our drive to forge peace, not our capacity for destruction, but our talent for transformation. We kept our advanced technology hidden not out of fear, but because we were waiting for the right moment to share it responsibly." The signing ceremony that followed was broadcast across quantum channels to every world in former imperial space. As each representative added their signature to the concordat, the quantum crystals pulsed with new patterns, recording the moment in ways that would resist any attempt at future revision or manipulation. In Earth's Strategic Command, now transformed into the concordat's central coordination facility, a small team gathered around Ambassador Martinez's memorial. Captain Wu placed a quantum crystal containing the full record of the day's events at its base. "She would have liked this," he said quietly. "Not just the peace, but the way we achieved it. We didn't just defeat an empire. We helped build something better." Dr. Volkov smiled, watching the quantum streams that now connected humanity with countless alien civilizations. "And we still haven't shown them everything," she mused. "Project Oracle was just the beginning. There are some technologies that even the concordat isn't ready for yet." "That's as it should be," Admiral Chen said, joining them at the memorial. "Humanity's greatest strength isn't our advanced technology or our military preparation. It's our patience, our ability to wait for the right moment, to use power not for dominance, but for transformation." Above them, in the vast expanse of space, the Ghost Fleet continued its patrols, their quantum crystalline hulls shimmering with possibilities. They remained a reminder not of humanity's military might, but of the fine line between destruction and creation, between ending an old order and building a new one. The galaxy was changing, one quantum connection at a time. And humanity, the species that had hidden its true capabilities for so long, was finally ready to share its dreams of what might be possible when intelligence, technology, and wisdom worked in harmony.